Okay, guys, welcome back to a final part of this video series of creating a Microsoft SharePoint server 2019 version. In our last session, we downloaded and installed. Um, we downloaded the SSEI package and created the ISO for the 2016 with Service Pack 2. And we downloaded the SMS version 18.12.1 based on the link that we showed. That I just took the closest version to 2019 as possible. Um, and I downloaded the SharePoint Office server image file from the website. So we're going to go ahead and finish installing the SQL server as per documentation and best practice. Install the SQL server first, and then we're going to go through the specific server roles before we install the. We're talking about the server roles and managed server roles, um, server manager roles. I'll explain to you guys about that and the different types of roles we can install. And what about the firewall rule? We'll fix that as needed. So I've gone ahead and downloaded that. I want to download the enterprise trial, but I need to download and install. Okay, on the server. So okay. Some people like to, again, you can set up a drive or a file server drive or an application drive where you have all your downloads saved remotely. But again, I prefer to um download them directly because they're just direct links, which is kind of cool. I'll send you guys a link to earlier versions, which will kind of help you guys prepare yourselves for that. And let's see, put that here. So, all right. So again, your environment is different. Again, we've joined it to the domain. We've created. You can create different service accounts. That's totally up to you. We can give it character, and we can the download then install, which is what we did. We've installed the SP2 actually. Um, installed SP2. It's kind of cool. And we're downloading the 18. I think it's 18.12 version, point one. If I'm not mistaken. So let's go back to our drawing board here. And look at our drawing board. And okay, so here's our drawing board, or mess here. So we've created a two machine system. Um, so I need to enable remote connections in SQL Server. So I want to go ahead and this is done through the SMS. So when I install the SMS, I want to make sure that that's correctly configured. Um, 10 TB. So I went ahead and connect the connection. And this is something I'm going to do when I log into my SMS. It is in SMS. So we're going to take a look at that to see what happens there. Okay, so um once so once we've installed the server, I need to install the I'll go to my download section, and I need to install the SSMS, and this is the 18.12.1 version. So I'm going to double click on that. Okay. So read permissions. There we go. So I figured that problem out. So I tagged myself to the file here. Um so what happened? What I did was I gave access um to advanced sharing, added my name as a share so that now I'm able to kind of open that share anywhere. Should be able to run that hopefully. If it's open to everyone, should be able to now open that. Yeah, there we go. So that's good. So I did that as well too. So if I go into security, it didn't have read permissions. I think the only person that had read were the administrator, so I wasn't able to open it. So within that, I just added the permissions, right, and just added myself, give myself full control, right. So I'm now able to give myself full control with that. Add a condition to limit access to the if the conditions are met. Again, that's nothing we need to worry about right now. But again, we can give allow and deny permissions to the subfolder files or just to the folder and subfolders or files only, whatever we want, right? So we can apply that. We can also change the principal for this permission entry for the database, which is what we really needed, was for us to be able to share. And again, right. and it should be all good. I've given myself full control on that. So, I'm also able to share, which is what I wanted. So that's good. Um, these are now, again, should be able to now open the folder, double click on J, double click on H. Perfect. All good. Here's my program files. Hit OK. There we go. Hit OK. All right. This one, this one. And then here's all my logs and stuff. Perfect. What I need. Everything I need is here. So all good. And I think this was the one that I did make a mistake on. I'm not gonna use. So not that I need it, but anyways, it's there. I'm not gonna leave it. So if I go back to uh so I resolved that issue. Okay, so there's a second James Code. Do you have there's a second? No, no. So I don't want to delete anything yet. It's corrupt. You want to do so? Okay, yes. All right. So, okay, perfect. This is the files. Good. Okay, guys. So the installation files again. We're gonna install the installation files based on the application, and the application is in your H. So I'm gonna change this to the H drive, guys. So just remember this goes to the H, right? And we're gonna click on install. Yeah. So SQL Server Management Studio is being installed. Once we install it correctly, I'll go ahead and enable the remote connections and review the TCP/IP protocol. Um, so, so, yeah, to ensure that that's enabled for the protocols. So we need to look at the network configuration for that the protocol section. So we'll go ahead and do that. Make sure that that's enabled too as well once this is done. Um, I think click on that. Network configuration protocols for this. See, that's all. Should they all be enabled? Let me check if they all should be enabled. Just TCP/IP should be enabled, which it is. It's enabled. Great, perfect. Okay. So just thought I'd make sure you guys understand. You would normally create this on a hypervisor, Hyper-V environment. So you can create this on a Hyper-V environment if you feel like it. It does work still. Um, it's actually a great opportunity to try that now if you want to. Just create one machine as a hypervisor. So if you guys want to do that, right? You can create your DC and then one machine here. I'll show you, give my pencil here. So you'll have your hypervisor here, yeah, and then install the hypervisor manager role, right? And create an external switch by default, and then create your Windows 11 machine on here. So again, this should have 32 plus GB. Let's say 32 plus GB, right? Give this whole machine, I would give this whole machine 32 GB, right? And give, again, your machines, your two machines, I would give it, again, 4 and then 16, right? For your two machines, if you want to build the two machines, right? That makes sense for you guys. So 4 GB, right? Right, and that'll be your your machines there, right? Or just create two machines, DCs, give this a full 32 GB or 24, whatever, right? Whatever you need to install it, right? And then you can install your SharePoint sites within this 32 GB machine, right? The more you have, the better it is. Again, when you're connecting to your physical NIC, and not your physical, sorry, you have your PhD and your PHN, you're creating it to your physical NIC first, right? Your local, and then this to the outside world or to whatever service you want to run, right? So you can use that for remote desktop as well too. It's up to you. And dedicate that NIC only to remote. Just remember when you're saving your VHD files, machines files or VHDX files, you're saving them on top of a LUN or a shared disk. Uh, that's the problem, and not on your physical disk, right? You can also create another physical disk, right? A second physical disk with terabytes of space, and then save that directly there. But the only issue is if this machine goes down, everything else goes down with it, right? So you want to basically save it within the network where it's accessible within another hypervisor of yours. So if this hypervisor goes down, this hypervisor acts as the passive and the passive becomes as an active, right? So it becomes an active um, scenario there, right? Um, just remember the external switches are different. They cannot connect to each other on hypervisors. You also have your internal vSwitch, right? Which is another option that you can have too for your VMs. But again, that's totally up to you. Okay. So that's just an example of that. If you guys are willing to do that. Hyper-V Manager is a rule that's installed on top of a server, so you need to ensure that um, your operating system is a server, right? So this is a operating server, 2019 to 16. So we could say this is server, Windows Server 2019, 2022, or even 2025. It's totally up to you how you guys want it. You guys are more than welcome to try either or. It's totally up to you. Um, Depends on your infrastructure and how you want to build that infrastructure. Okay, guys. So it's totally up to you. Um, so I'm going to restart. But again, if you guys are looking to do that on a hypervisor machine, again, that's how you do it. Okay. That's an idea for you guys. Please feel free to check it out. All right, if you guys want. Um, it's up to you if you got the space. If not, again, try it. There's a video on how to create this environment if you want, and you can go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and restart this machine, guys. Just remember, just remember, guys, when you are creating it, you're adding your Intel VTX, right? So you go into your settings, just make sure the machine is off, right? Um, so you're going into and you have more processors, so make sure you add more processors for each machine. You're looking at a max of two processors per VM you add. Um, I typically add four for the server, SQL server, and two. You can add two for the SharePoint server standalone, and you can add an extra two for the SQL. I don't think it would matter how much processors you have, but you could start off with four at first, and then make your way up as you progress, right? It's not a heavy, there's not a lot of data that or resources that are coming through this machine. There's not a lot of users logging in to these resources through your load balancer. So there's not a lot of information that needs to be processed through that. Um, so back to the drawing board here. I'm going to click on the Control Delete and sign in. Enter. And I should now have install. I'm going to do this and do not show this again. I should now have SMS installed, SMS installed. So I'm just going to sign into that quickly. The binaries look like they loaded, so I'm just going to load a version 18.12.1 for my environment and then log in, just ensure everything's running and on. So again, my next step is to enable remote connections to the server. So it's important that we add that those connections to the SQL server, to the actual server on the server level. So once we log in, I'll show you guys how to do that. There you go. Let's just log in now. Hopefully we can log in with that instance name. Connect to the server. There you go. Start the server agent. Yes, I do want to start the server agent. Okay, so that's on. And enable any of these that are off now if I want. There's my high availability feature. It must be enabled through the for the server instance. So to enable the always on, we open this configuration manager, select the server services, right click on server instance name, select the properties and select always availability on. Okay. something we can look into. Okay. So let's grab that information there. Okay. So I can turn that on. That's my SMS. So let's put this into our diagram here. So we'll have to open up the SQL Server Configuration Manager. So let's go ahead and open up the Configuration Manager. Click yes. And then once we open up the Configuration Manager, um, we open up the Configuration Manager, select the Server Services, right click on the server instance, right click on the server, select Properties, and we are going to use the always available groups tab. Okay. And this computer is not enough for failover cluster. Select the properties and use the tab of the dialog box. So we need to grab another computer name. Okay. Well, that's the built-in name. That's fine if I need to change these properties or the okay. So if I need to change anything there, so my high availability is on for that. So here you go. I'm going to show you guys how to change that if you need to change that. Copy here. Hit okay. That's okay. So that's where we find that. And then over here, if we go to properties, right, and then we go to processors, our connections here, we need to, okay, so that's checked. That's good. And we will need to go to, um, so if I go to security, logins, properties, ensure that I've got the, that's another thing we need to ensure. Um, security admin or security admin. When do not make sure do not uncheck the sysadmin. Do not uncheck the sysadmin. So that's enabled. That's enabled. Security admin. So that's the one that we want. Security admins and I will say okay. And I'm gonna refresh, refresh. Right. Right. So these are the four databases. Oh, okay. So these are the four. Close this. I don't need this. So these are the four um, databases that are connected to that. So this will be connected to our machines here. All right. So that's that. Okay. So we're connected to the um, All right, guys. So everything's good to go. Um, our credentials, our server roles are all in set and ready to go. Um, these are the different members within these server roles and the people we can add within these server roles. So it's always good to understand who that is and what that does. So we need to ensure that we are part of these and we're members of these. We can check the different connections here if we'd like. All right, so that works with that. Um, and that's it for that. That's added. We can close this now. We can close this. Okay, we can minimize that. And we can go ahead and start talking about the um, we download and install that. Our next steps, we download the SharePoint Server 2019. But before we do that, I've downloaded. I want to run the prerequisite installer. This will install the necessary roles, right? For the prerequisite. So we need to run that. So let's go ahead and open um, and look for this, and then this will include all the roles, and then we'll uh, require the roles and features manually. We'll add it to the server role. So let's go ahead and do this first. Minimize that side. All right. So we're going to go to the downloads folder. Within the downloads folder, I'm going to click on Office Manager, right click, and I'm going to mount. I'll mount that disk. And I'm going to run the prerequisite installer in here. So I'm going to right click on this, run as admin. Okay. I may want to change that. So I'm not sure if I can change that. Change that to age after, but I should be able to. There we go. Let's download, install the software prerequisites. Okay. And this will install all these roles. Okay. All right. So we're looking at it. One, okay, the native and the distributables that it needs to download. Show that. So that's the full for server SharePoint 2019. So this will kind of be an attachment of my um, notes in case I missed anything. This will show us what's been installed. So we have a better understanding of that. So this is now going to install these one by one, and I'm going to accept the license terms and agree. And right, and then once we're done with that, I'll go ahead and install the required um, server roles, right, one by one with you guys. Here's my SharePoint. If we look at the steps here, um, you'll see that it installs these roles. Right. So these are the products and preparation tools. So this is going to be the product preparation tool prerequisites. For SharePoint 2019. 2019, and these are the products preparation tool. Right. So it's going to install all these prerequisites. So if these are already installed, they won't install again, obviously, but these will install them um, one by one. So I'm gonna pause the video and I'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. Sorry about that. So it's been installed successfully. Looks like everything's installed successfully. We can review the log file, and what I'll do is I'll save the log file in our J file here to read up later. I don't see any issues with it. So if you need to know where the log file is, this is the log file, right? And it typically saves here. So this is the location that it saves. So if we look for copy or go to run, right, we can run this without the log file name. Should be able to open up the temp folder area and look for the um, log file, which starts with a P, so it would be here. So this is the log file that we need, right? Okay. Any questions with that? You can definitely take a look at that and read up into it. This will show you all the locations to which these folders are located. Obviously, they're 32-bit or 64, they're 86-bit applications. So you can also find these in the registry locations with within when we're using our MSI or our EXE app or line of business apps or EXE applications. There's a install location, excuse me, and an uninstall location. So the prerequisite above is already installed. It'll tell us that it's installed with a value of 1 based on the registry key information. That's good information for you to take a look at and read up on if there's any errors. This is definitely educational, these logs, so look into that. It's great. Logs are educational. They give you some pertinent information, paths. So these are good to read, guys. Definitely take a look at these. Right, like I showed you, it's got the values and whatnot. These are all registry edits. So the registry, you're able to actually follow these locations to see where they are. Another thing I want to add is okay, it installs the we're gonna press finish to restart your system, right? And I'm gonna restart the system now. My next step, um, again, my next step, just in case we missed anything. Um, Typically, it does all its work. That's what I like about SharePoint. It tells you everything, does everything for you. But I want to install the required server rules and features just in case we missed anything. And I want to take a look at these specific server rules and features roles first and then the features just to see if we missed anything based on the installation that we did, right? So I'm just going to hit Control Alt Delete. I'm going to sign in with my domain admin account. Oh, and that's it. So I'm just going to wait for the binaries to load. Once the binaries load, I am going to add roles and features here. Just waiting to collect the inventory data, so that's fine. And those are all the binaries and stuff, regardless. Um, so all right. So I'm going to go ahead and again, we once we finished um, running the installer program, we restart the machine. Um, we've found the prerequisites preparation tool that installed it. We rebooted the machine, right, and read the logs. Once this is all done, So these are all the prerequisites, right? And then, okay, I'll look at the logs, right? Or locate. And we said that we said the location, so this is the location for the logs, right? Right. Location is, right? So that's the location you'll want to look, right? Could be your username. Just remember, my username is not your username, so be your user. This is your user profile, name, right? Whatever it is. That could be anything. Again, please make the appropriate change. Okay, so our next step again is the step 211. All right, we'll open up the server manager, which is what we did. We're going to add roles and features, which is sort of what we did, and then begin the add roles and features wizard. This is where we're at right now. And before we begin, a screen. So we're going to select the selection, the installation type now, right? Or click next. Um, Once we click next, we're going to choose a role-based or feature-based installation. In this instance, we're not required roles and services for VDIs, right? But we're not doing like we talked about our multi-session and single session, or persistent versus non-persistent VMs, multi-session versus single session, where they do require VDIs to create virtual-based machines or session-based desktop deployments, or uh, single session versus multi-session. We're just going to use the role-based for now. We're just going to clear next. We're not selecting the hard disk, right? We don't have the offline VDF file, which the is already installed, so we don't need to do that. We're just or select the server, right? So we are going to select the server from the server pool, right? And that's our server that's selected in blue. We're just going to hit next. We're going to select the following roles: IIS, if we haven't installed it. Server roles is IIS. IIS. There we go. So web server IIS, right? Web server IIS. Click next. So we're going to select that. It looks like it's already, okay, so it looks like it's already installed. All right, so I'm not able to not see. So, so it looks like it's already installed. Management tools. Net framework. So, so the 3.5 framework and HTTP activation is installed. Okay. 4.6, actually 4.8 is installed. WCF service is installed. Windows Identity. Include 4.6 in WCF services, which is what we did. Windows Identity Foundation. Identity Foundation, which is already installed. Um, Windows Server Backup. We are going to install that. Optional. It's just for backup purpose, so we'll try to install that for now. process activation service. Uh, that is, those are all installed. And then remote differential compression, remote differential compression. That's not installed. And then under the IIS rules, web server IIS rules, won't see anything here. I don't see web server. Okay. Did I install that already? Okay, so so if we look at the common HTTP features, the following is dev publishing, nope. Static content, default, okay, directory browsing, HTTP errors. So we also have our diagnostics, HTTP logging tools, right? And then we also have request monitoring, so that's good. So I'm going to close that off. I'm going to close the comment. Then we look at performance. So performance is installed. Not missing anything, so that's good. And then application development, we have 3.5 installed, 4.7 installed, ASP 3.5, 4.7, oh, 4.8 for me. ISAPI extensions, ISAPI extension filters. We're going to install the web server services. Server side includes, and then the WebSocket protocols. Again, so this is, again, you can read the description here to take a look at what the SSI is, the scripting language used to dynamically generate HTML pages. So that's all done. The script runs on the server before the page uh, is delivered to the client and typically involves inserting one. So these are ones that we've checked. I'll highlight that. All right, and then a management tool. Oh, so IS management is installed. Okay, so I didn't have to do any of that. Um, Manager tools, IS console. Okay, so that's installed. Um, so let's go back. Next. Okay, so so uh, I need to install remote differential compression. Um, so these two. Events. Nope. Nope. Okay. Sure. So as you can see, I've highlighted the ones that I've had to add. So things change in the 2019 version. Um, so I've added these two, remote differential compression, and I've added the server backup, which is optional. I just wanted to add that. So I've added that as well. I'm also going to highlight that. Everything else that's here, the identity foundation, um, that's installed. Everything else here is installed already, right? So I'm going to go ahead and restart the destination server. All right. And install that. I selected that, the restart the destination server once that's done, and I've gone ahead and installed the available roles that I wasn't able to install. So it might take some time once to complete. Once it's done, I'm just going to click close. Um, you can also manually uh, you can also manually install this if you'd like. Again, it's totally up to you. You can install additional software manually. Um, like the 12.1, that's all up to you. So the way I do this is if I open up a PowerShell command or PowerShell ICE, right? Right click on that and open up as an administrator. Click yes. Uh, I can go ahead and actually run this and run this feature and actually run this feature, which is kind of cool. So go ahead and run it automatically for us just to make sure that everything's installed correctly. And it looks like the feature is already installed. Cool. If I don't have it, it will install it. If it doesn't, it's there. Uh, Again, it might the prerequisite installer does fail, then you can run these components through PowerShell, which is kind of another idea for you if you guys want to take a look at that. Um, that. Let's see what happened. So success, all started, no needed. Um, it says the role service or feature name is not valid, which is I think it's 4.7. Just a comma maybe. I'll have to take a look at that script just to make sure I have all the right info, so we can fix that. Um, there you go. So all good here, guys. Um, all good here. So I'm going to close that. I'm not going to save that. I'm going to reboot the machine. So reboot it. And we're going to install the SharePoint installer now. And if I am not mistaken, um, I'm going to take the enterprise key, copy, and I'm going to add it to my notes here. That's the one I'm going to use. All right, make this a little bit bigger. So again, the code is similar. Everybody's going to have the same code. So no need for me to hide it. So last you 180 days. So I'm going to sign into the server and sign in. It's a little bit bigger. Hopefully you guys can see that. Hopefully you guys can see that. I hope. Okay. Mount this. I should copy this. Copy this. Okay. So this needs to mount. Okay, so so run the installer. What we're gonna do is launch the SharePoint installer by running up the setup.exe from the installation. So we're gonna run the setup.exe. Um, I'm gonna put in the code. I'm gonna copy the code. Click, paste, and continue. Accept, agree, determine. There you go. And I'm gonna change the location to where I'm gonna install this. So I'm gonna install this on my application folder drive. So if we go back to our drawing, our application is in our H drive, right? So we know that it's in our H drive, right? As per our diagram. So we're gonna change this to H. H. And then click install now. So in my case, it's H, right? In your case, could be something different. So we've installed the SharePoint. We're going to run the SharePoint products configuration wizard now, and we're going to modify the server farms. We're going to specify the port number for the central administration web app. And this paint, we're going to choose a server role for the server. So in this case, it could be a application with search or front end, right? So it all depends on what we're using it for. So I've explained and showed you guys what both are. You'll see the different options as we go down. So this one's going to be a application with search, and that's going to create the contact database for that. Plus, it's got the it's got the already it already has the DB created for that too. So you'll notice that when we uh, connect to that. This machine is name is system. So if we go to the about, that's our name here. So that's going to be our name. So it's going to take a little bit of time. And by then we should be on step 4. As you can see, we're slowly getting to that point there. We're at the hour mark. Again, this takes a little bit of time. Remember, everything's done. I'm not cutting any of the video off. This is all freehand. No no scripting involved. Just basically done on the spot. No edits are made in this video, so everything is seals what you get type of experience. I've made mistakes and I fixed those mistakes in the video, so you'll kind of get to see those happen. Um, don't worry, I do fix the problems, so you will see them in videos. If I'm not, I won't, because these are series videos and I want to create courses on that, so I need your support. And I want you guys to, let me know if you guys need any training. Send me messages on WhatsApp. I teach training for you. Um, Teach you whatever you guys want to learn. Just ask. See what that is, Watson. Subscriber. What's it called? For Sends Network. Okay. So the system event notification service enables mobile aware applications to receive notification events from sends monitors. So that's your system event notification service. So that's what that is. If you guys want to know what that is. Um, so Sends can notify applications about 3 classes of system events. So TCP networking events, such as TCP network connections, the quality of connection, logon events, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to um, say this is a good read. And that's going to be that's a typical error that you're going to see. Populate, you'll know what that means. Um, the Sens architecture is the works with the Com Plus event system. It's an event publisher for the classes of events that monitors networking, login, and battery powered events. So the application receiving a notification is called an event subscriber. So when the application subscribes to receive notifications, can also specify filters associated to this sends and com plus events used to filter that. So um, that's a good read. I'm going to have you guys read that as well too. So that's a good read for you guys to read. Um, okay, this is sends architecture. Right. So that's a good read for you guys. All right. So this is a system event services. Okay, so that's a good read. Just understand how that works. So when the application subscribes to receive notifications, it can also specify filters associated with the subscribed events. So you'll tend to get that a lot. Again, that could be used and measured on startup, or not measured. Again, you can remove it here if you'd like. That's totally up to you. It's part of the startup apps. Normally turned on. Could be part of our SharePoint for a reason. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Go ahead and take that information down. So again, I want you guys to kind of learn as things happen, because they happen for a reason. So kind of understand what that is and how that does. So I've completed the run the wizard configuration. Um, I'm going to launch it. It will launch automatically the start menu after the installation is complete. So the configuration will launch automatically in the start menu, right? So we're gonna close that, and it'll ask me for a reboot, and we'll see it in the start menu in a second. Okay, so I'm gonna say yes. I'll reboot the machine. Okay, waiting for that reboot. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the Control Alt Delete symbol here and sign in with my username and password. It's domain driven username and password. That's my domain admin. Oh, okay. And there you have it. I'll have to look into that too and see why that's not working. Um, so copy that. I'll have to probably copy that to my C drive. Yeah. So I'll have to probably copy these files to the C drive. I'll have to create a prerequisite folder. Um, let's see. Save this. So that might be. So if I go back to my this PC and I go to my DVD, oh no, there's no DVD in there. If I go to my downloads, why is it going to E drive? It's launching the E drive. exe. So I need to copy this to a temp folder. I mounted that. Um, hmm, I'm gonna copy this. Okay, so if I copy this, okay, I have an idea. So I'm gonna copy this folder, and I'm gonna create this on the C drive. Run, paste. Um, so I'm gonna create in the C drive. I'm gonna create a new folder, and I'm gonna call this temp, right? And I'm gonna go like that, and a double click that, and I'm gonna paste everything here. Right? And if I run the application now, click next, accept. Does it give me location to? Okay, let's try again. All right. So we've confirmed that already. I'm going to um, okay, so that's done. Um, so let me take this and run this feature in command prompt, run as admin, yes, PowerShell, and then paste, enter. Okay, well, that's good. I installed it manually. Okay, so let's write that down. And so if I close that, so if I'm missing anything now, I know. I'm gonna copy this post here, and should I download? Do I have that? I'm gonna download the um, download this. Do I have 4.7? So I'm gonna check my control panel, categories, icons, add or remove. 4.7. Do I have that installed? So, um, Let's go ahead and download that. I just downloaded that. Let's run it. Might want to have to download that. So let's go ahead and download that. Okay. So it's already installed. All right. So that's good. That's installed. No action required. Okay. So I don't really need that, but that was an option. Um, based on the link they gave me. Um, I'm glad that this actually, which is okay. Okay. Well, that's good. Okay. So I'm glad that that went ahead and now we're installing it. Okay, so welcome to the products. So this is gonna go ahead. It looks like I'm ready to go. All good. Um, looks okay. I've installed the necessary management tools that I needed and anything else that I'm missing. Installed. There's no restart needed, no changes needed. So there's installation was successful. I'm gonna go ahead and go on to the next step. And within our next step, um, we are talking about running the welcome screen. I'm going to click next. So yeah, so the following services may need to be started or reset during the configuration. So IIS, admin services, and time service. So choose yes to restart the services if required, and continue with yes. I'm going to create a new farm. I'm not doing an existing farm. I'm going to create a new farm. The name of the server is my database. So I don't have, remember, I'm, so because my database server is in here, or else I would name it whatever my database server is. So if you had a database server, it would SharePoint DB01, right? Based on the number convention. So we're going to go by number convention. In my instance, you can call it whatever you like. You can call it DB01, right? Or server, DB server for SharePoint. Typically, it doesn't matter what you call it whatever you need to call it in order for you to understand that. On my third server, so your third server would be, this would be the name and it's got to be joined to the domain. So that's where you would add that name. But in my instance, it's server 01, SRV01. So I'm going to give that the name. Let's see. SPSRV01, right? And we know that that's what it's called, the server name, and I think it's called -CND. The database name is okay. Okay, so we're going to specify database access account, and we're going to give this database access account um, a Windows account that this machine will always use to connect to the configuration database. I'm going to stick to my um, and domain server. So I'm going to what did we call it here? Um, so let's go ahead and make note of that. I think it was it. Yeah. That's what I called it, I think, and it's -sc admin, Right, so that's what we're going to be calling that. See admin, right? So I'm going to find the official name of it. So let's do a who am I? Who am I? Will give us that information that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Right. And give it the password. So again, the user account can be whatever you want it to be. Again, um, could be database admin. It could be whatever. If the configuration database is hosted on another server, we got to specify that domain account. It's best practice to have those best accounts. It's up to you, or you can use one account, which is your main account, right? And that main account is what's going to specify our database access, right? So I'm going to give it my password. Do this again. And click next. Settings should be all good. Taking some time. So all the servers in the server farm must share a configuration database. So type the so it says the cannot connect to the master database at SQL. Okay. The current user does not have permissions to connect to it. We should have it. Uh, we should have it. Let's try that. All right, so okay. Type in the password one more time. One more time. Uh, so let's see if I made sure that that's how it's good. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna try one more time. Um, so that's my server name. Okay. So the server is totally different, guys. All right, so that server is totally different. So that's what it's gotta be. So I'm gonna click next now. There we go. So again, my apologies. If it doesn't work, just make sure you copy the server name. Um, or like I said, based on the name that SSMS has. See, it's not gonna connect. So something wrong with that server name. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel that. No problem. Not an issue whatsoever. Um, so I'm going to give it the farm security settings. So I'm going to enter a new passphrase for the product farm. This is used to secure the farm configuration data. It's required for each server that joins the farm. So I'm going to give it a passphrase and just, right. So I'm going to add my key pass now and add this information here because this is important. Um, so I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to add this into my, so I'm going to add this entry here. And this is going to be specify farm, farm, security settings, right? Just the passphrase. And I'm going to, right? And I'm going to, right, put in another password, right? And I'm going to hit OK for that, right? And then I'm going to copy, paste that. Um, Next. It's good. Next. Okay, so here's the server roles aspect that we're gonna do. There is no dedicated role here that we're installing. Um, we can read more about the farm topologies here. I've already explained a little bit to you guys. Here's the farm topologies, a little bit from them. Um, this will kind of explain and give you a description on that. I've already done that for you guys, different scenarios and whatnot. So this is a good read if you guys want. It's totally up to you. Um, write that as a good read. All right. I'll just put that as a good read again for roles. I've already explained this to you guys. So this will kind of explain everything to you. Um, what everything is, what everything isn't. Um, you just got to click on that and then it'll explain all that for you. We are going to use a application with search here. And this search role puts the application and search roles on the same server. So this is sort of like it's going to be my application and search role server, like I said, with search. So if you look at my diagram, guys, um, I want it as my application with search role, right? And it's going to act as a standalone that's joined to the domain. I don't care if it's a server with a farm. It's not I don't have a multi-tiered system or multi-tiered server system. So I don't care. It's just going to be a single server farm, right? That's all I wanted with the application and search, right? So if I need to read up on this stuff, just click on the link and, I'll take this information down with me and read that information here when it need to, right? So this again, this is all stuff that we can read later on. I'll send you guys links on that kind of stuff. So a single farm is one farm, one server with all roles. So it's evaluation, development, testing. So this is what I'm doing. I can have a two, and I want you guys to do a two non-high availability min role farm. I want you guys to try that to see if that works. Again, I'm trying the three-tiered system just because I want to uh, I want to test the three, and I've talked to you guys already about that in my diagrams a little further up in topics. So if you go a little further up here, we talked about the different tiers, web server tiers for the applications and three-tier system. So these are the flow of services that happens and what each server does and what how the flow of services go back between the web server and the application server, right? So you need to understand how that works. Okay. Make this a little smaller here. Let's go back to our uh, diagrams. So, so we're basically running the configuration farm. We're specifying. Um, we're going to specify the server role. In this instance, we're going to choose application with search. We're going to make this as easy as possible. This isn't going to be a front end with a distributed cache. I've also showed you guys on how that works. Again, you can make them dedicated, right? And dedicated to the application services and components that are required for the distribution cache belong on a distributed cache server. So you can create a specific server for that and specify that server role if you want, right? So again, I'm just going to make this an application with the search, and this shared role puts the application and search roles on the same server. Makes sure that the server meets the system requirements for hosting the shared server role. So that's what I'm going to do. Click next. Then we're going to specify the port for the CA website, and I'm going to use NTLM authentication. Again, we'll work with any pool account and domain configuration. So Kerberos is the recommended security configuration with integrated Windows authentication. If you want to set a port, you can specify the port between 1 and 6000. Again, I don't need to specify the port to manage the configuration settings um, for a server farm. The first server added to the server farm must host this web app. So to specify a port number for the on the machine, check the box below. I'm not going to specify it. It's already grayed out. It's good. Um, we can talk about Kerberos and NTLL authentication. Um, we can configure the central admin web app. Here's a little bit of information on that. So here's some info that I want to take a look at and read it just in case. We're also going to configure, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So we're going to configure this to select NTLM. Again, you know, it the difference between negotiating Kerberos version 5 protocol and NTLM is that NTLM, we're going to use NTLM, but NTLM is available in SharePoint products, and that allows us to communicate with systems that use the NTLM authentication. The default setting is NTLM protocol, and it's just based on a challenge response from mechanism for the client auth. We can change it to Kerberos. I've seen people use Kerberos before. This is all done through AD. You can change the machine itself, the device, um, again, which is, again, Kerberos authentication uses a service ticket system that verifies the identity of the user and the network services. So the dual verification is known as a mutual auth. The system attempts to negotiate authentication over the Kerberos protocol first. It's not successful. It uses a protocol. NTLM protocol is used, right? So I'll show you in our domain controller. Um, if we go to properties here, right? We go to delegation. Delegation, we can this will allow which services to act on behalf of another user. We just selected trust this computer for delegation to any services and then click apply. Okay. But we're not, well, just again, you can whatever. We're just going to leave this as is, but this is what you would do. You would click on that. So I'm going to cancel all of that for now, just to kind of show you a little bit about that, since we talked about that. And I'm going to select the NTLM authentication. Again, for more info, see curve rows. Again, we can read up on this stuff. This is good information for us to take a look at, read up on for this specific instance, right? Okay. So that's a good read. Okay, so I'm not going to make any changes to that. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm just going to click next. Again, this is provided for the web authentication. It will work with any off application pool account and the default domain configuration. So again, if it is recommended to use curve rows, we talked about the negotiate curve rows for security configs that use integrated Windows authentication, and I showed you the location for that devices too. So our central administration web application is going to use TLM. We're going to click next. This is just our time to review. So I'm going to, review. Right. So this is my review. Right. So if I go to my DC now and I open this and I go to this properties delegation, I can see that this is where the information is for that. Uh, All right, guys. Like I said, I want to get as much information for you guys as possible, so you guys understand where everything is. Um, this is not over yet. There's a lot to cover in this course. The main goal is to set it up. It's also knowing the insides of the product itself. I have a full course on this. This is a 30-day, 20 to 30-day, let's say 20 to 30-day course on this kind of stuff, where I spend at least an hour a day, or I can do 2 hours, 2 days a week, and finish this up on a weekend or something every other weekend, So again, if you guys are interested, let me know. I do classes and I do one-on-ones as well. So kind of understand the full SharePoint central administration web access. There's a lot more to cover. Just to kind of give you guys an info on that, basic info on that, and to get you going so you can start your own environments, right? All right. So let's go back to my server. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger now, and I'm going to make this a full screen. So I took a picture of this. This looks all correct. This is what my site's going to be, right? So I'm going to copy that. This is going to be my site server. Uh, uh, this is going to be my central administration URL. Let's call it my right, central admin URL for my site. Today is going to be that, and that's what I'm going to use. Okay, copy that, and I'm going to go next. I'm going to go ahead and install that server. So this is great information. This is the server roles, so there's different types. It's good information for you to keep. Right. So you want to know my different server roles. This is, these are the different dedicated roles, the server roles. And I could talk about this again. I have a full course on this, explaining the different types. So we'll talk about the three roles. So this is our dedicated roles, our shared roles, and our special roles, right? Okay, so those are the three main roles to talk about when we're installing that. All right, boys. Okay, that's great. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait for this to finish. Um, so as this configures the three tasks, I'm just gonna pause the video, guys, and I'll be right back. right, so welcome back, guys. The configuration was successful, right? So the configuration is successful. Um, so I'm going to, so we're gonna click finish to close the wizard and launch the central administration website to continue. This user may be prompted to by their web browser for their username, which is their domain username and password, to access the site. So we'll go ahead and at the prompt enter the credentials that are used to log into this computer. Add this site to the list of trusted sites when prompted. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and you just click finish. And I'm going to um, click paste that as my successful, right? As a snapshot. You guys should also be doing snapshots, right? Screenshots. Way, you know, you could say is successful. Please feel free to send this over to me by email. Successfully configured SharePoint, but it must say your name um, and your website URL. That way I know you did it. Uh, right. So usually 2 or 3 snapshots are good to have. Please feel free to message me on WhatsApp and share your goals with me. I do really appreciate you guys sending this over. It shows that your dedication is always there, and you guys are willing to work. People like you, um, you know, deserve all the best because I know you are dedicated to your work and you guys know what you're doing, and I can see that you're not waiting for other people to do it for you. Um, hard workers are smart workers as well too, right? So take a screenshot, send this over to me. You can either message me on WhatsApp or join the group and add it to the group. That way I know that you're done that and, um, you're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this link here, right? And I'm going to click finish. This will automatically open it for me. That's fine. Uh, Not a problem. And it should prompt me for a welcome screen here. There you go. So that's what I'm looking for. We should be able to, um, if we're able to access the site, right, and the domain is correct. If not, you'd have to add the domain username and then your password. So if this comes, then we know it is done correctly. So this is our second screenshot, guys. So I want you guys to show me that this comes up, right? So this is going to be our second screenshot. Right? So this is screenshot 2. This is going to be security login, successful. This will allow you to sign in, right? So I know that you're able to access the site this way with the security window. Sure. Server with application search role successfully configured in my environment, right? So again, hard workers show, you know, I appreciate hard workers. You know, I I I enjoy everything, you know, I enjoy when people do the work that I do. So please follow along. So so again, guys, screenshot, we know that you're done. And then at this point, we're going to sign in with your account or your service account. I have my service account already here. So that's going to be my domain account. I'm going to log in. So I want 3 snapshots from you guys. I want one that's successfully configured. You um, being able to see that security login screen where you're able to now log in. And sorry, so let's be sure. So this is something I've never seen before. Interesting. So let's go ahead. What's that? So from the description, when you click configure service accounts, an error shows. So to run it as an administrator. Okay. Oh, okay. No problem. All right. I see that. Okay. So I think I have an idea of what's going on here. So what I'm going to do, I know what's going on here. What's going on here. So when you guys see this error, so I'm going to take a picture of this because I think I remember this from a while ago. So I'm going to copy this error for troubleshooting here. Um, right? We're not done with our third snapshot yet, but I'm going to add this as partial screenshot, partial, right? So if you do receive an error, I want you to show your error, sort of like what I'm doing here. So this is how this is going to work, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to minimize that. That has to be on. Um, I'm going to copy the server and I'm going to right click and then right click on Microsoft Edge and I'm going to run as admin. There you go. So once I run as admin, I should be able to now open the site. There we go. So there's the issue there, guys. It seems like it needs it needs that touch to get it open. So I'm now able to log into the central administration site, as you guys can see, and I can manage these apps and configure the wizards and, take a look at the different system settings. I can add web applications if I'd like. Setting here. Should be okay now. So there you have it, guys. Um, I'm able to, again, I'm able to make changes here and edit the page. However, I like to exit here. Set up SMS messages here. I think honestly, we can set up. We can set up. Like I said, guys. I can set up. I think I've already done this where I've. Okay. I can create different SharePoint farms here. I can configure the SharePoint farms here with the service accounts and service and create those accounts to operate. How do I do that? I just go to the server itself. Um, Application management, central admin here. Um, Go to configuration wizards, farm configuration. Oh, so that happens there. Sites and web applications. Okay, so the only way this will turn not turn gray here, the web app, because I cannot, as you can see, I can't add it. The only way that works is if run the run the profile in admin center, and I notice that's the only way it'll work. So what I'm gonna do here, and these are the services that are running below automatically. As you can see, these are all the services. So I have my incoming mail database, work time flow. I have my search query, my host controller service, and my server search, which is what I wanted. The only way that that works is I have a site already here that's already created. The only way it would work is if I uh, run this as an administrator. So I'm going to try this again. Notice that that's how that works. So I'm going to close the browser. Because I'm not able to create an account here. Um, Security, manage the farm administrator groups, prove, specify web. Okay, so manage the accounts. So here's my account that's built in. I have my built-in administrator. So here's all the farm administrators. So I'm a farm administrator here, right? So that's okay. That's good. And I can edit the different information within this here. And again, I can set this up later if I want to. Um, so within our security, we can manage the farm and approve and reject distribution groups or specify web application user policies. Right. So we can add and update policies with new users and groups to trigger crawl all over the content covered by that policy. So that's something we can definitely look into. But it doesn't, I think it's grayed out because I need to run this as administrator. So I think if I right click on here and I run as admin, and I copy and paste the role, click enter. So, so should be able to sign out. Here, create a web app. Um, should be able to create a web app. I'm not sure why it's not. uh, Anyway, it's not really weird. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I can definitely, like I said, I you kind of get the gist of things. There's more to talk about here, and what this all means. I can go through all this a little bit later on. Uh, this takes a lot of time to kind of explain to you guys, but kind of understand the documentation here. Um, you know, we can talk about language packs as well too. We can install those language packs if we want. For example, we want to install the French language packs. There's links on that, and I can send you guys those links on how to set up those language packs. But based on um, based on what we've seen so far, and it looks like um, it's good so far. Um, I can edit this page, kind of cool. Um, Create a site collection, and so I can call this to create. Go to the new web app page as admin. So this page isn't set as shared with you. So, so I've gone ahead. If we go to the admin, so like for example, if I go back to home, right, and I want to create um, a web app, able to contribute here. So it's not allowing me to contribute. I'll have to take a look at that. Usually it's not grayed out here. Go back. And if I go back to create a site collection, it's not like that. Interesting. So I noticed that should fix the issue, but it looks like it's not. So I'm just gonna create a web app. Just gonna select a web application. Um, we're going to we're gonna give it a title and description for the new site. So this is gonna be my leader's website, right? So it's gonna be my company website. I'm gonna give it a URL. Define it, and we're gonna create a community site, right? And we're gonna specify the user, right? So we're gonna specify the user, select people, enter, so select the only user that's there. There's no site. Um, that looks good. That is a secondary site. Right, press enter. Click OK. So So it looks like it's okay. Hmm. So here you have it, guys. Here's the SharePoint admin center. I'm just showing you a little bit about the different options here. I'm not gonna go through them here all. Um, Again, thanks very much, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message me on WhatsApp or send me a message and um, let me know what the issue is. Again, guys, send me those three snapshots. Let me know that you tried it, done it already. That way we're both on the same page. For this instance, I want you guys to show me that you're actually logged into um, the site. So if I'm going to the site here, um, and I'm going to go to central administration, I want you guys to show me this. You guys are logged in with your server name. Right? That way you know that you are logged in. Um, if there's any errors that happen, again, add those errors to that. That way I can see that you ran into an error and that you were able to resolve it on your own. Guys, again, thank you very much for joining me. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to follow me in these different videos and troubleshoot these issues. Again, do your best, troubleshoot. Uh, hard workers deserve. This is central. Uh, Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining. I hope this session was informative. Um, and I'll talk to you guys soon. So my next video looking to talk about is how to install a Unexchange server on premises. Thanks, guys.